Good morning or good evening, everybody, depending on which continent you're watching from. Welcome to the Party Pace podcast. We've got a special live guest. Actually, this isn't the podcast. It's a live stream today. You can tell I'm a little bit tired. We're going to be talking all things Swift Campout with none other than Martina herself, one of the founders of Swift Industries. We're going to talk about how it started, how it became a global movement, how it's chuggered on 11 years later, and what to expect in the future. So without further ado, welcome, Martina. How's it going?
Hey, how are you, Russ? It's good to see you.
Yeah. So Swift Campout, 11 years. How old is Swift now? It's older than that, right?
Yeah, so we started Swift Industries in 2008, one of the very first of this gen of bike packing, bike bag gear wave. So yeah.
And then you guys started Campout a couple years later. Like, what was the initial impetus for Swift Campout?
Yeah, that's a great question. So Jason, my co-founder and husband, he had this adventure series in Seattle called the Get Lost Adventure Series. And it was just an informal crew of friends that he would kind of just like, he's the enabler. He's like, oh, whatever we do, he's the adventure enabler. And so these adventures started taking shape. He would do overnights. He would just do day trips. But it started growing. And then, of course, it got associated with our company just slowly but surely. So that was kind of like the seedling for sure. And then those overnights were recurring a little bit more frequently. And on one of them, I turned to a friend and I was like, what would happen if we asked everybody in the world to go out on one of these? And we just kind of like chuckled and we kind of like brainstormed. And then I went away and I was like, no, but really, like what would happen? And we were a significantly smaller company at that time, but we've kind of always had an international presence. For whatever reason, folks have gravitated to us from all over the world. And so we knew already that we had this beautiful platform to just highlight what our customers were doing. We were talking day in and day out with our customers about their adventures. So it felt like a very intuitive and exciting moment to just like aggregate that information.
Mm-hmm. So what were early days like? How did you get the word out?
Like most things Swift, super DIY. So at the very beginning, I think the first year we created a little microsite, which a lot of the foundations of Swift Campout have continued on. They're still visible today. So we created a little adjunct site where folks could sign on and just kind of like wave their hands that they were enlisting to go bikepacking on the solstice. Mm-hmm. And then really we used our social media presence. So Instagram, and then for sure at that time, very analog, we just put a postcard in with every single order that we sent out kind of for the 3 or 4 months leading up to Swift Campout. And the hope was just that we would kind of like make the solstice weekend, June 21st, 22nd, or as close as we could get. We wanted to make it like the default activity for the solstice for our cycling communities.
Right. It's good to pick a known day.
Yeah. Totally.
What was the, do you remember how many participants you had that first year? And what was like the first kind of international country that participated?
Oh gosh. Yeah. That first year, I think we had maybe 400 or 500 people sign on that year. And we were astounded. I do remember that first year we had folks from South Africa participate and from Scandinavia and in Japan. So we were starting to see people really globally. A lot of folks from the US. We have incredible relationships with our dealers. And one of the most amazing things has been how many shops actually close their doors the weekend of Campout to go on a campout, whether it's a staff campout or with their customer community.
Right.
So that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
what was like the countries that weren't in the US, did they already get the concept of like a bike overnight, or is that like a uniquely like North American thing in your experience in the early years?
Well, I actually want to back it up and say that, so when was this? 11 years ago. It was actually a pretty challenging concept for a lot of people. So not only folks internationally. This was kind of in tandem, I would say, with your bike overnights initiatives, and then that went into Adventure Cycling Association, and definitely Grant Peterson was doing S24Os, and so like that was alive in our niche and in our bubble. But I think this idea of a decentralized global event was really challenging for some people to wrap their heads around.
Right.
And honestly, it was like the earlier days of social media. So that makes a lot of sense looking back. And then I wouldn't say that we got like particular questions or pushback like vocalized to us for the camp out internationally. It was more just like a head scratcher, like, well, where's it happening, and how do I sign up? So we can get into all of that too for the Pathless Pedal audience. But yeah, that was more of the obstacle, and kind of often can kind of persists. So
yeah.
What
do you think was the main thing that it served in the early years, and has it changed over the past 11?
Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Like, I feel like you're mentioning like that was when, the idea of like a overnight was kind of nascent, and maybe in the beginning it was just getting the overnight concept out, and then maybe its main function or purpose has changed throughout the decade.
Yeah, so I would actually say that the overnight format was really to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. And I don't know that we were necessarily thinking of it as advocating for that format. We just wanted to make it as broad reaching as possible, just to reduce as many of the barriers as possible. Exactly what you were thinking when you started the overnights, right? And I think more than anything, it's really just to show like global culture is such a huge part of why we bike pack. And it's so incredible to show how everybody culturally can have their own spin on it, as is defined by where they live, cultures, terrain, access to whatever they might call, camping infrastructure, or even like in our case, more quote unquote wilderness infrastructure, land access. But just to show that this activity can look a million different ways, and it doesn't have to look one certain way. I think that was like the most exciting and compelling seedling.
Do you have any examples of where the culture of the country kind of really defined like how the event took place?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, a little bit more. The first thing that comes to mind is a little different. It's more about the timestamp. So like during COVID, that was actually one of my favorite eras of Camp Out. Because the very first year was full lockdown, and we had folks like just camping in their backyards. So it was like, there was like such a dedication to mark the solstice with some sort of an evening, a night spent outside. And we were seeing folks just going on like a day ride and then ending up in their backyard. And I was so taken by that. It was really meaningful to me.
Right.
And then, there's all kinds of examples, especially even this year with our navigators. So we appoint about 15 individuals globally to really be like kind of the advocates for Swift Campout. And there's one family in Japan that has just welcomed a newborn baby, and they really wanted to be part of it. So they're in Tokyo in a very urban setting. They're going to be doing an urban ride with the family and then camping on their roof. So it truly is like however you want to make it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a Navigator in Spain? Is that David from
Yeah, totally, from Guava Bikes. Totally.
I was so stoked when I saw Guava participate, because it's one of those things, like we talk about, like cultural differences in cycling. Like take for example, like coffee outside. Mm-hmm. It's like a hard sell here, because they're like, what do you mean you want to bring your coffee stuff and bike in the woods and make coffee? There's like cafes everywhere. So totally. I was like really curious, like what it would look like in Spain. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to find out. And maybe there's more folks in Spain in your audience who are going to be inspired to do their own camp out and like really show the world what it's like. And that's the whole point actually for everybody in your audience. Think about really like what your local culture is. And we want to see it on Campout and on the global Campout directory.
Yeah. So individuals can sign up, and then there's like Navigators. What are the Navigators tasked with?
Yeah, so Navigators are essentially like they're already established. We work with them starting much earlier in the year, and really they're chosen. We reach out to folks who we see as like very engaged in their communities. So we're not as interested. I mean, we're not as interested in like solo influencers. We're really interested in folks who are wanting to engage their communities through bikes. Mm-hmm. And more often than not, folks are hosting a public campout in their area and just kind of doing the work, laying the foundation for the campout, selecting the destination, compiling the route, and then getting all of the information together to make that as accessible to folks as possible. So just laying out the fundamentals, like what the terrain is going to be like, what people can expect. So you're not, throwing anybody under the bus. Right. I think it's the most important thing, communicating what the ride is going to be, and then creating a suggested packing list. One of the things that we know is that Swift Campout is many people's very first bike camping experience, which is so cool. And I think that's largely because it is this like open invitation from so many people in communities to be like, hey, let's go out to do this together. And then it's like, oh man, like how many of us have been at camp? And then all the gear comes out. And then you're like comparing the thing and you get so into it. And that's like what Camp Talk is all about. But that I feel like that's kind of the easiest way to demystify bike camping is to get out with a bunch of people and just kind of like absorb the experience altogether.
Right. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. We've got 55 people in the chat. If you guys have any questions for Martina, or if you've participated in Swift Campout in the past or are going to do it this year, let us know in the comments. Let's see. So you'd said that your first year, 400 people had reached out. That sounds like a lot of cat herding. Like, what does the back end look like to manage all that?
Yeah. So a couple different elements to speak to. So for one, basically we're just letting folks, like by saying that you're coming on Campout, you're just raising your hand by signing on the website to say, yes, I am heading out on a campout. Whether I'm, that can be joining your local bike shop or initiating your own, going out with buds. But really for our intents and purposes, like it's really just kind of that hand raise. And then for folks who want to, they can submit kind of a description of what they're doing. And we love that Rolodex because it will like really show that this is a global event and the global nature. No one has to do that. It's not a requisite of participating, but it's so fun to see. Yeah. And then in terms of Campout, like our planning starts basically like 4 weeks after Campout. So it's, so it's year round. We have some element of Campout in the works. And one of the marvelous things that I've gotten to do over the years is work with an artist to kind of bring their artistic style and interpretation to the annual art for the event. So this year we've got Christine Tyler Hill, who is an artist who I met at the WTF Bike Explorers Summit a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And, you know, essentially we love to work with artists who have experience bike packing and who like, for whom that's a really meaningful experience, because then they really can bring their art expression to the table in an amazing way. Mm-hmm. So that's where we actually kind of begin for the year, because that's like we get to then apply all of that art to the website and to the products that we create every year. And it just kind of like sets the tone. And then we do enlist a bunch of amazing partners to make this happen. It's a pretty expensive thing to run. And so we bring on like-minded gear partners to help us get the word out and to help us build the entire event. So that kind of outreach that happens really, really early on. Yeah, so it's basically a year-round endeavor for Campout. Wow. Yeah, it's big. I mean, big as in a lot.
Yeah. Let's see. We got a comment here from Devin. Going on for the first time this year in Seattle.
Yeah, awesome. Psyched to see you, Devin.
Have you had the chance to participate in Campout in different locations?
Oh, so I'm like pretty bound to Seattle because, you know, this is our home and this is where the flagship event happens. But I will tell you that we've had international guests, which is unreal. In the early days, we had folks flying in nationally for Campout. And then as this thing has grown, we even had like a massive crew from Blue Lug come one year. And it's magic. Like it's pure magic. It's totally why I have this company. That's like my moment where I get to be like, this is my why. This is why we make bikepacking bags. And we're so committed to building community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I do think that is one interesting aspect of Campout. It's like if you live in an area and you're interested in like, you know, bike touring, bike packing, it's kind of hard to find those people because they don't go on like weekly group rides necessarily like other forms of cyclists. So to have like some kind of big tent event that draws people out of the woodwork so you can find your people is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. And that's exactly what we're hoping the global directory will achieve.
Yeah. Cool. Well, do you want to go into that and share that now?
Yeah, I would love to.
All right, let's check it out.
Awesome. So I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of the site. We'll get to the directory, but I also just want to spell out how to get involved in case you're interested. So you just head to Swift. You can put in swiftcampout.com. That's the most simple. Or head to builtbyswift.com and you'll be navigated to Swift Campout. And basically, to kind of, again, raise your hand that you're going to be part of Swift Campout, however you choose to make that happen, you're just going to go ahead and sign on here in the join the community section. There's some really fun extracurricular stuff too, which is getting a little bit ahead of myself. But speaking about those partners that we enlisted this year, we all pool together to put together a prize package for a content contest every single year. So for folks who want to document their Swift Campout, we've got like over $5,000 in bikepacking gear, including bike from Pelago, Bivy is on board, Old Man Mountain, of course, Swift Industries, and so many more. It's really exceptional. And the content that comes out is so fun. We have like hundreds of submissions every year. And then we work to jury that with bikepacking.com. So that's an extra element. You'll get information on that giveaway once you get into the community here. And then this is where the fun begins. So here you can see the Rolodex of the campouts happening globally. And again, this is whoever is deciding to kind of like fill out the form and submit it. And truly, like, whether you're doing a public campout or not, you can always submit. We indicate when something is public with this little P that is on the suffix of every single title. And then, but if you're doing something that is private, also a P, sorry about that, guys, just note. It just doesn't have the P. And it's pretty clearly outlined in the description of the trip. So let's check out what Devin Cowens is doing in Atlanta. You'll just go over here and select it, and it'll take you to a really basic blog format where you can learn more about what Devin is doing in their community, and then how to plug into their ride and register. So we ask for like a map wherever it's possible. So whether that's a route on Ride with GPS or Strava or any other platform, that's always super helpful. We love, again, just to make it really accessible so folks really know what they're signing on for, to get a sense for distance, terrain, difficulty level. And then if folks are asking for a donation, that should also be listed on each site. And then you can go to the registration page. And those are hosted, the registration pages for folks who are doing public campouts. Those are hosted by them. So that takes you out of the Swift Industries ecosystem and into like Eventbrite or Google Forms. We see people kind of doing that however they choose to. So that's where we kind of dip out of the picture, is on the local level registration.
Right.
Yeah, but it's really, really incredible. Let's see if I can navigate back.
I'm just going to highlight a quick comment here. Yay, Israel from Syria Bikepacking.
Says he hopes
to join.
Love it.
Yeah. We're going to go see him on Tuesday and check out his shop, which is, from what I've seen, looks pretty awesome. So
yeah.
You'll have to come visit when you come to Spain.
Okay, Martina. Sounds great. I'm so sorry about that. I think that I wasn't screen sharing Devin's profile, so apologies for that. Regardless, y'all can kind of scroll through and look at where folks have signed in from. We've got Barcelona from Guava, Sprinters BC Taller from Texcoco, Mexico, cool. Folks in Poland, Vancouver, Denmark. I mean, it's so fun. It's so cool to see. And you just sign up and hit me up and I'll add your camp out here.
Right. Nice. Anything else on this page, or do you want to pop out of it?
No, we can pop out.
Cool. All right. So we got 64 people in the chat. If you guys have any questions for Martina, or if you're planning on attending Camp Out this year, let us know. I really want the Syria bikepacking folks to organize one. We'll make the road trip out for that.
That's awesome.
We're still trying to figure out camping in Spain. It's a bit of a mystery. Like, are there state parks, national parks? We see camping, but it's more like KOA. and just don't know like what the lay of the land is like yet. So.
Yeah. Some years ago, I had the privilege of doing the Camino, the northern route in Spain by bike. And so that's like, we learned that kind of firsthand. We were on the Pilgrim's route, so we had access to hostels along the way. But we had all of our camp gear, and then we were kind of like, where would we have camped even?
Right.
So
Yeah.
it was a totally different experience than we had expected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. How over the 11 years, how has there been much that has changed in how you view the event?
No. Maybe a boring answer, but at the end of the day, it really has exactly the same ethos as at its inception. Mm-hmm. And that is, again, just to celebrate local bike cultures everywhere. Mm-hmm. I think it's just incredible that you can find bike niches, bike communities all over the world. And it's always, whenever I'm traveling, it's this incredible way to connect with folks. We love popping in at shops. We love going on group rides where we can. It's just it's an incredible global community. And this is one way to highlight that, and has been and will continue to be.
Yeah. Do you guys archive any of the older Swift Campout pages so people can see in the past if like someone's put one on locally or anything?
They're gone.
They're gone.
They're gone in the wind.
Yeah. Let's see. Other comments? No.
I'm seeing somebody who lives in Tacoma who can see Vashon Island. That's going to be our destination for our flagship event. Our flagship event is super special. It's going to be, we leave from downtown Seattle and ride along the waterfront, and in true Seattle fashion, jump on a ferry all together. And then we'll pedal on some what feel really like rural roads, very, very close to home. It's really within 6 or 7 miles of downtown Seattle, out to a private campground. And there we go kind of over the top. We'll have like all kinds of camp activities and an extra trail ride through Center Forest, which is a trail system on the island. And we'll have like tie dyeing and all kinds of like fun activities going on at camp. So we really make it like a summer camp experience. But
nice. So Devin here has an interesting question. Is there a way to get in touch with other participating in the camp out to coordinate gear swapping and tips or anything like that?
Yeah, Devin, I'm so glad that you asked. So this year we're trying something new, and it's going so-so, to be completely transparent. But we created a WhatsApp community that has different groups within the WhatsApp community. There is actually a gear swap and gear exchange list going on. But Devin, you're welcome to pop exactly that question in the Seattle flagship group as well. So there's kind of a couple of different routes that I encourage you to try if you're offering or if you're asking for borrowing or exchanging gear.
Cool. Do you want to get into the WhatsApp?
Yeah, we can. It feels a little bit like it's such a new experience. And this is really the thing. So one of the things that has been a little bit harder is to create, because we aren't a tech company, we're a bag company, to create a social platform that feels really like it's truly connecting people in a conversational way. And so this year I decided to try a social platform. I kind of waffled between Slack and WhatsApp, and kind of like what I was hearing from our international participants was that WhatsApp is really used so pervasively. I find that the community setting in WhatsApp is like a little bit clunky, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But all of the public campouts and all of the navigators are there and have created their groups, as in like, their campout. So the flagship campout is there. All bodies on bikes, campfire cycling. And that really is meant to be the place where folks are exchanging information, setting like the group meetup time, making sure that, everybody's got the gear that they need. So,
yeah,
we'll see how we can refine that as time goes on.
Yeah. I can attest that WhatsApp is huge here in Spain.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Like,
so maybe I'm just getting my sea legs.
Yeah, I mean, it takes time to grow. Also, like certain countries are like more active than others. But here in Spain, like I just joined a new community called like Girona Buddies to find other people to do bike rides or do creative things with, and it's like it's hopping,
It's awesome.
Yeah, there's another big group here called Girona Gravel Girls, and it's all coordinated via WhatsApp. And like Laura's on that group, and it's like it's blowing up in English and Spanish and Catalan, and it's
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I was totally inspired by Bicycle Subcult, which is also just a Slack channel, and I was like so pumped on what I was seeing there. So
so wait, here's a good question. How do you join the WhatsApp?
So when you sign on for Swift Campout, again, here, like joining through the platform, over in this zone. Thank you, Russ. So you'll join in the community here, and you should receive an email instantly from Klaviyo that has like an entire welcome session. So it will give you the link out to the WhatsApp community and a couple of prompts to kind of creating and planning your own campout and getting plugged in, and then also how to submit to the global directory. That's all done through a Google form. So again, super DIY over here at Swift, but make sure that you've got your Klaviyo marketing settings like set up so that your stuff isn't bouncing or not coming through into your inboxes on the email side, but it should reach you that way.
Cool. I have to say it is refreshing that you said that you're a bad company, not a tech company, because I feel like every other company is like, we're a tech company, no, we're an AI company.
No.
in 2025, or got smart bags that'll automatically order things via Amazon for you.
I do think that we are a bag company with an identity problem, and that identity problem is that we throw so many events and host so many community endeavors that we're actually as much of an events company, for better and for worse. I mean, I love it. I love organizing community events. That has been part of kind of my passion and what I gravitate to pre-Swift Industries, just in general. It's like to gather community is like one of my favorite things. And, that comes through in Swift Campout. We have Swift social rides every single first Saturday of the month in Seattle. And we do so many different kinds of activations. So, but yeah, we are definitely not a tech company.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, comment here. Hoping to do my first one this year with Passenger UK and going to see what they can get from Wood Cyclery.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, it's been a joy working with both Passenger and the Woods.
Yeah. We've got new here. WhatsApp is everyone's chat app in Indonesia.
Yeah. So there you go. Got to plug in. Let's get a little bit of action going on in the WhatsApp group.
I mean, like it's used so pervasive. Like we can order pizza through WhatsApp. I get, doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, like, ping me on WhatsApp. It's bananas.
Yeah, so maybe this is like illustrating that most Swift campouts are happening in North America, and that just isn't as prevalent a platform.
Mm-hmm.
WhatsApp, that is. So maybe it'll just like grab hold, and then for all of you international participants, like light it up.
There you go.
Yep.
All right. So where should we go next?
I mean, I think get ready for camp out, basically, is the call to action. So yeah, I hope that y'all have gotten a really nice sense for how the event is structured and what's driving us, why we're inspired and what we're building. I mean, we really want to see a global movement. And I also, I want to see, as like bike packing and bike camping gains in popularity in different parts of the world, I want to be able to see that kind of like cropping up geographically. That would just be like so exciting, so mesmerizing to see. Mm-hmm. And since I'm assuming that we've got some like real bike enthusiasts here in this space, maybe y'all can also do me a solid and tell 2 or 3 of your friends who might not know about Swift Campout yet and inspire them to tag along with you or do their own ride. Yeah, we'd just love to grow it.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we've got 70 people in the chat. If you guys have any questions or comments for Martina, just put it in the comment section. Let's see. I have my list of questions here. One of them, I think you've already answered, is like, are you surprised it's still going on?
Yes and no. And
yeah.
I feel pretty confident that we can stake claim that we have built the longest running global bikepacking event on the books. I see lots of annual events that have persisted and thrived, but I've never seen anyone really platforming this global event series. Mm-hmm. And that feels incredible. It feels so incredible. So I love that it's still happening. I love that it still has traction. I literally start getting emails November and December of, in every year that's like, when are you going to start announcing Swift Campout? When does registration open? And so, our wish, our dream is that, if let's say your bud comes up to you and they're like, hey, want to go on this hike on the solstice? You're like, no, I have Campout. It's like a given. I have to be at Campout. That's like my annual holiday weekend. So we just want it to be the default for as many folks as possible every June.
Cool. Yeah. Madeline here says recruited 3 others for our first Campout.
I love it. Let's go.
So I'm curious, Lynn, what were the magic words? Like, how did you frame it to get people into it? I feel like for some people that are like, what do you mean you want me to go camping on my bike? Like, what was the hook? Kelsey here, can't wait for the Seattle Campout. Yeah. How many people show up for the Seattle flagship one?
Well, we cap registration at 120.
Oh, dang. Wow.
Yeah. And it sells out every single year. And we kind of format it. We can't host a ride with 120 people. That would just blow my mind and I would be a nervous wreck. So the way that we've structured it is Jason and I have a group of about 20 to 25 folks that we'll ride out with. And then All Bodies on Bikes, which is an amazing nonprofit, has a Seattle chapter. They're also leading a ride with about as many folks. And then we also have the option then for the rest of folks to sign up for the meet at camp spots. And what we see mostly is that then that's like bunches of groups of friends who then rally together and make their way out. So I do think that I might have seen something in the chat. Let's see. For those of us arriving our own way to the Seattle location, From Lynn, is there a time we should arrive for camp activities? That's a great question. We are going to send out an itinerary and an entire list of all the activities, so you don't have to have FOMO. And that's going to be in your inboxes very, very soon. Promise. So.
Cool. So Lynn said, I mentioned the tie-dye.
Yes, that's the hook, huh? Okay.
So explain the tie-dye. What's going on there?
Oh, we just set up a tie-dye station, and folks can like bring articles of clothing that they want to tie-dye, and it's just a lovely camp experience. It's really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't think is this your first time doing the tie-dye station, or have you done it in the past?
No, last year was the first year that we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Russ.
What did people bring?
Mostly t-shirts, socks. Yeah. Some people brought shorts. Last year, our Swift Campout shirt was a white shirt with a graphic. So a lot of folks brought that to tie-dye. So,
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
One of the activities that I'm really excited about for this year's Campout, which I think would resonate with you, Russ, is we're doing a watercolor painting tutorial with the folks from Art Toolkit. So cool. Maria is one of the founders, and she'll be coming and teaching some foundations, some fundamentals of watercolor painting. And Art Toolkit, if folks aren't familiar with them yet, they create these incredible travel art kits, palettes mostly, but then you can get like a little travel kit that's complete with the paper and the palette and a couple of like brushes and stuff. It's really an incredible.
I've seen them in stores here in Spain.
Oh, you have?
Which is yeah.
Do that.
There's a art shop in Barcelona I go to a lot, and it's like right there in their glass case. I was like, I know that person.
Yeah, yeah, they're right here in Port Townsend, so local legends.
Yeah. Well, we've got our friend Erin here. Last one I was able to do was in 2015, 10 years ago.
You're back? Are you back? Are you doing it this year?
Adulting sucks, but I try every damn year.
I hear it. I totally hear it. That's really why we love this overnight format. So, at least it's like not a week or, a multi-day excursion. Try to give it some snippets, but yeah.
How do you get a sense of the demographic? Is it younger or older? Like what's the mean age, or is it just like all over the place?
Here, he's loitering.
Hey, Jason.
There's my co-founder, partner in crime, Jason Goodman, the man himself.
Did you guys come say hi? No.
Nah, I don't know. We'll see.
How's it going? Internet, this is Jason. Jason, this is the internet. Have you guys met?
Okay, what was the question again?
Demographics.
Oh, demographics. Oh my gosh. I can speak mostly, we don't ask for people's age when there's a sign up, but at our campout, we have participants from the age of 11 all the way through, I would say maybe early 70s. There's a real good range that shows up.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And especially like this year in having, hi Armando. So we've tried a couple of different distances.
Yeah.
And we are so excited to be on Vashon because there's like a couple of unlocks that have happened with it. It's, as I said, 18 miles to camp from downtown Seattle. And so most e-bikes can handle that range. And this particular campground has charging capabilities. And so that actually like totally opened up also like families participating and folks who would otherwise maybe have been a little bit intimidated to come along on their e-bikes. And then in general, motorized or not, it's just a much more accessible format. So, and it leaves a lot of time for socializing at camp. So some years we've done like 70, 80 miles to camp. And that's been super fun in and of its own, but a very, very different experience. So right now we're just like really loving the socializing and kind of like more camp focus of Camp Out. So that's how it's going to be for at least a little while now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was explaining to Dave over at Guavo what Camp Out was initially when they brought it up, I was like, they're usually short and, like it's more focused on the social. And he was kind of like, thank God. Because like there's a lot of like gravel bikepacking things in Spain, but they're all just, they're here to like destroy you.
Yeah. This is here to replenish you. And also like if destroying you is like how you get replenishment, go get it. But that's not what you're going to find at the Seattle flagship event.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of like if most of the like public campouts like skew towards like shorter routes, or are they longer, or like what's a mean average distance? If
I think I'm seeing mostly between like 30 and 35 miles is kind of the average at the moment. And I get to do the plugin and add all of the campouts to the directory. And I had a gasp when I saw 120 miler. I was like, wow, that's crazy. So that's definitely that's the anomaly at this point. Yeah.
Cool. Sweet. Well, if you guys have any last minute questions for Martina, or if you're going to the camp out this year, let us know. Or if you've gone in the past, if you're looking forward towards the tie-dye. So here's another person here. Looking forward to the UK one with cyclery. I'm going to bring my oldest zeitgeist. Wow,
oh, nice. Great. How many do you have? How many gens? The zeitgeist has gone through, I think, 4 generations. So I have all 4, but I think I'm obligated to that.
Nice. What other, so you're going to have the watercolor and the tie-dye. Are there any other camp activities you can talk about now?
Yeah, totally. So we've partnered with Gear Aid, which is also a Bellingham company, excuse me. And we love them because they make mostly products that lengthen the life of your gear.
Okay.
So they do like patches and adhesives and glues and like zipper pulls and zipper lubricants, that kind of stuff. So they're going to be doing a demo on like really, really basic maintenance on your gear. Turns out that bike bags need maintenance. They need TLC, and especially on the zippers.
Right.
So they'll probably do like a little introduction to zipper cleaning and care, and then also some like simple patches and stuff like that. And then All Bodies on Bikes is hosting the evening fireside experience with s'mores and just bringing the goodness for the evening activity. And there was talk that Knox, the binocular makers, may be showing up to do a bird walk. So that's a tentative list. Oh, and maybe sleeping bag races by the folks at Zenbivy. Nice. So an adaptation on the gunny sack race. So we'll see, but it's gonna be laid back and really fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, I'm gonna take us home. Yeah, so it sounds like a fair amount of you are familiar with Camp Out or are attending or have attended, but if you're still on the fence, do you want to do the one last pitch, where to sign up, how to sign up?
Yeah, come over to swiftcampout.com, throw your name in the ring by joining the community. And then it's so simple. It's so straightforward to plan a camp out. Find a destination, a local destination, pack up your gear on your bikes and go pedal out and just enjoy a quiet day, evening out on your bikes on the solstice. I think it's like such an incredible way to kick off summer in the northern latitudes, at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I'm going to take us home. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Be sure to check out the link below. I'll put a link to the Swift Campout website. If I haven't already, I think maybe I did. I don't know. So it's been all a blur.
Awesome. SwiftCampout.com. It'll get you there.
Yeah. And as always, Martina, always fun to talk to you and have you on.
It's good to see you, Russ. Thanks for the opportunity. Love it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream. As always, keep the supple side down. And